You're about to see Joe Rogan call out all of Canada. Not quite. Pretty much the Canadian government, though. In episode 1919 with Brett Weinstein, they're about to talk about a serious issue happening with Dr. Jordan Peterson in regards to him potentially losing his license to practice psychology in Canada. I'm Coach Colin, coolest high performance coach in the world. And if you want the absolute best insights to the podcast you love, smash that subscribe button. Let's get into it.
Says the College of Psychologists of Ontario, the government mandated professional college of psychologists, has disciplined me and is threatening my clinical psychology license for retweeting the Conservative Party leader, Pierre Poilievre. How do you say his name?
Not sure.
Criticizing Justin Trudeau, the chief of staff, Gerald Butts, someone named Jacinda Ardern, and an Ottawa city councillor. He is required to participate in mandatory social media communication retraining to modify, it says, to modify my objectionable behavior, which I absolutely refuse to do. So they'll go to the next step, which would be an in-person disciplinary hearing, with my license on the line. I'm going to make all this public this week. If you're interested, take a look. Canada has given over to the commissars, something I thought I'd never see in my lifetime. Happy New Year.
Well, I can't say I'm terribly surprised. You know, ultimately, anybody who remains inside an institution is going to be up against disciplinary hearings if they insist on seeing reality and discussing it.
But the term retraining, I'll read it again because it sounds so bonkers that someone would think that this is a good idea. That this term is so crazy that he is going to have to participate in mandatory social media communication retraining. Social media communication retraining. Like, you have to do it the way I do it. You have to do it the way other people that we have decided the way you communicate is not proper. We don't agree. You're retweeting people who are critical or criticizing the government, and we don't agree with that. So we're going to retrain you how to communicate on social media, and this is mandatory. You have to do it, and then you're going to have to adhere, right? Because if you do it, if you go through the retraining and then you don't adhere, well, then it doesn't count. Like, you have to be a different person.
Yeah, I mean, I am simultaneously shocked. Myself from 10 years ago is absolutely shocked.
Yeah.
Myself that has lived up to this point through the last 5 years is not shocked.
At all?
No. The disciplinary hearings are part of the structure that keeps the last holdouts from doing their thing. And in this case, you and I both know that Jordan is not going to bow to this. There's nothing that they can say that is going to cause him to do that.
Well, fortunately, he doesn't have to. This is the most important part about it, is that Jordan has achieved escape velocity, and he doesn't need them anymore. And so this is an empty threat. So
Definitely an empty threat in the landscape of Jordan being able to make money, do appearances, do tours, all of that stuff, write books, write articles, podcasts. They have no control in that sense, but they do have control in the sense of him wanting to be a clinical psychologist. I mean, he went to school for it. He's been doing it for, I want to say, like 30 years almost, maybe more. So it's definitely an accomplishment that he more than likely wants to hold on to. That's a very, very sad thing going on in Canada right now. It's surprising, but like Brett said, it's not surprising. But at the same time, it very much is, because it's very clear that somebody criticized the government, he retweeted it, and now an entity that's controlled by the government is now attacking him. And that is a very scary thing to see happen in any country, especially a country like Canada. Canada, the US, these are supposed to be places of freedom. We've seen a lot of things happen in the past 4 years that have shaken our resolve in that. although we are still better off than most of the world, and you got to be able to admit that, as much as we want to, dig our feet in the sand and be like, oh, what's happening here is terrible. We're a lot better off than, I don't know, 90% of the world. Like, we're in a really good place. But when things like this happen, it's like that good place gets a little darker every single time. Weird. Retraining, re-education. Anytime I hear things like re-education, retraining in regards to things like this, it like reminds me of like Black Mirror. Like they're going to bring him into an all white room and there's going to be like one person sitting there and another person sitting there, and they're going to be like, they're just going to kind of, do the whole Clockwork Orange thing. They're going to re-educate. I really do hope that Dr. Peterson holds out. I really do hope that he doesn't lose his license. I really hope that his family is staying strong through all this. I know he is. And I hope this doesn't impact him, producing content and just being the person that he's always been. The worst thing, the most horrifying thing would be if he like went into this, did the re-education and like decided to just step back, because, our government isn't the worst, but it definitely deserves to be criticized. I think all governments deserve to be criticized when you feel it's necessary. I mean, that's what the people are for. The governments are supposed to be subject to criticism when the people feel it's necessary. And then I'm sure there are other people who disagree with what Dr. Peterson, retweeted. And then those people are meant to be heard. We're all meant to be heard and have our opinions on this. So when we start getting attacked by the government that we ourselves, through voting, actually installed, things get kind of scary. So, yeah, it's a sad case, what's going on right now. But I just wanted to put that out there. It's something. I'm going to leave a link in the description to this podcast. It's episode 1919. Again, that was at 9 minutes and 2 seconds. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm out. Peace.